Hello, and welcome to the season finale for Power Struggle Molly. So with us tonight, we have the three finalists, all who were original villains on the Ganda ISO tribe. They came in to merge at an 8-3 disadvantage and somehow managed to make it all the way to the end. Kind of similar to how the CBS season went. So we have Bryce Lancaster, Sam DeMott, and Susan Camosa. So how this is going to work is one by one. They're each going to have 5 minutes for an opening statement, which the jurors and everyone else are going to listen to. And then after they're all done, the jurors will each have 10 minutes to come in and question whatever questions that they want to question. And then they'll have an additional 3 minutes at the end for closing statements, and then we'll get to our votes and vote reveal. Over the course of the night, at the end we'll reveal like who won like best pre-juror, best player, or fan favorite and player of the season. And yeah, so it's going to be a very fun night, and we are very excited. So by random draw, which we did earlier, Susan will be starting with her opening statement first. So whenever you are ready, Susan, you can unmute and I'll start the timer.
Okay, I really don't have a lot to say. I really thought about what I wanted to say, and I don't know, usually my games that I play are different. I go in as a target. I usually win a lot of comps, which I did not. I only won 2 immunities, but they were important immunities. One was at where there was only 4 of us left. So, I mean, I could have went that round, and one was at 7 when I was supposed to go. Even my own alliance was even thinking of voting me out at that point number-wise, which was cool. I understood, but I mean, 2 very important immunities right there. There was like all these preconceived notions coming into the game, who would work with who, this and this. The heroes seemed to have a better lock on who was working with who. Aaron coming into the game, I think he's a great player. He made it like stern that he was close with the heroes, so I knew I would have to, like, this game was so different for me because I had to rely on a lot of other people. Not too many people were running to me like, oh, hey, let's work this, let's work that. So I had to follow along in Aaron's little group and vote how he wanted. I mean, fortunately, it worked out good for me until he decided to get rid of me, and then I won immunity. And if I hadn't made such good alliances with Bryce nor Sam, I wouldn't be here. I don't know. I guess that's really all I have to say until questions.
All right, thank you very much, Susan. Next up is Sam DeMott. Sam, you have 5 minutes.
Susan, I was hoping you'd go longer. Okay, coming into this, I didn't know anything. I had never played one of these games before. I hadn't watched Survivor in at least 15 years. I didn't know anyone in this game. I had maybe heard Holly's name before through my brothers, but really didn't know anything about her and really knew no one. So I had no bonds, no relationships to fall back on or lean on. All I really had were my observations all game to lead me to this point. And all I knew I could do at that point was kind of craft this narrative of how I wanted to be seen by other people in order to get here. I worked very hard to seem not as interested in the game as everyone else. Took a lot of effort. But I really, the only skill I really thought I had coming into this was my ability to read people and read situations and read social bonds. And so that's a lot of what I stuck with the whole time. A big thing for me was by the first or second challenge, we hadn't lost, so no one had really talked strategy with me. So I kind of threw my push-up challenge in order to kind of force those conversations to start coming my way. Sorry, Bryce. It was just easier to go with that and start getting those conversations, which is what led to myself, Bryce, Susan, and Aaron kind of joining up as a foursome. And we had a super heavy hand in every single elimination at that point. And as much as it seems like I wasn't some big strategic mastermind, I actually had a really big hand in picking who went home every single round, from Sivo to Mac to Cammy, Regan, just whatever. I can't remember orders right now. But I had a big hand in a lot of those. I knew to get out a lot of the bigger social threats that coming into a merge really would have been problematic, and they could have crossed merge lines a lot, whereas the group we ended up going in with really didn't end up doing that, which worked out really well for me. Shoot, that's kind of as far as I got in my planned speech. I just think a lot of what happened was I was really underestimated, and a lot of people thought that I was going to be a GOAT towards the end, which kind of worked to my benefit and was a really good position to put myself in. As much as people think I'm not going to win at this point, and that's fine. But I think it really shows in the fact that I never got a single vote. Like, no one ever said my name when it came to a tribal council. Hopefully that changes tonight. And I knew by the point when it got to final 6, I was pretty much a lock for the end because of the position I had gotten myself in the narrative that I had crafted that around. So that's my thing. I know it didn't seem like I had made a lot of big calls, especially post-merge, but in reality, I'd worked with this group from the beginning. I always had a heavy hand in everything we did as a team, even if it sometimes looked like Bryce was the only one making a lot of the big moves. And I guess I can explain those better with questions, but I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sam. And last but not least, we have Bryce. Bryce, go ahead.
Okay, so for the first time in this game and maybe in my life, I'm not going to be focusing on cracking jokes or trying to make people laugh or try and make people smile because I deserve to win this game. I really, truly believe that based on gameplay, based on social game, based on every element that came into play determining this specific group of people getting to the ends, I think that I had the most heavy hands, sometimes the only hand in making this happen. And my goal at the end of the night is to get everyone on that jury to agree with me. I don't think that finding and playing idols itself automatically makes you a good player. However, the fact that I found 2, one of them being the merge idol, which literally I don't think anyone ever found the clues, ever got into it before I told them about it, I think that shows a level of dedication and a level of analytical thought that I put into every aspect of this game. I think the fact that I knew who to play those idols on shows good game relationships, especially with Aaron, to be able to get that correct information. And I think knowing when to play those idols and being able to play them correctly at the right times to get us to the end, I think shows a good, I think it shows that I had my fingers on the pulse of this game throughout this entire game. Pre-merge, I don't know if anyone remembers, I was voted as the most trustworthy on the original Villains tribe. That live night vote, that was super crazy in 4-3. I was the person who Daniela had approached for that plan to get out Aaron. I was the person who knew it was happening. I was the person who had my fingers on the pulse of that entire tribe from beginning to end. And then going into merge, I think I knew when to sit back and when to make moves. This is my first final tribal council. And it's my first final tribal council for a reason, despite the fact that I've played many of these games. And it's because I have always struggled, especially being a more emotional player, I've always struggled knowing when to pull the trigger. Like, I've always struggled knowing when to put my game first, when to prioritize myself. I always make the moves too early because I get paranoid, or I wait too long and it's the opportunities taken out of my hands. In this game, I knew when to wait, when to hold back, when to let the heroes cannibalize themselves. And then I knew when to step forward. I knew when to play my own game. And I think I was able to single-handedly, with my idols and with my willingness to go to rocks for these girls, propel us to the final 3, despite the fact that we merged 8-3. I recognize the fact that there are a lot of factors in this game that I was able to benefit from that were outside my control, such as the heroes deciding to blindside Sherry and leave Mark and Leslie out of the vote right before merge. such as the heroes deciding to vote Mark and Leslie off first. Despite the fact that those were elements outside of my control that I benefited from, I was able to capitalize on them, and I was able to really take control of this game after Live Night because of them, and because of the fact that I was able to capitalize on that. At the end of the day, sitting here in this final three, I adore both Susan and Sam. I really enjoy them both as people. I think that out of us three, I'm the person who had the biggest hand in getting us here, the biggest hand in flipping the entire narrative of this game around. And I've never been more confident in any aspect of any game in my life than when I say that I am truly confident that I deserve to win this game. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bryce. And with that, you have now heard all of the final threes. God, I'm so bad with my words tonight. Opening statements. So at this time, the jurors will now come in one by one, have their 10 minutes to question you with whatever. We do ask that unless they are addressing you, please let them talk, let them get through their questioning. Do not butt in on other people's questions. And yeah. So it should be here soon. And Kilby is here once he unmutes.
You can hear me?
Hello. Yeah, you have 10 minutes.
Heartiest congratulations, gang. Okay. So to begin, I just want to say to Bryce, whoever wins deserves to win, not whoever at the Final Tribal Council thinks they deserve to win deserves to win. Basically, I want to say, coming into this game, Bryce, I hated your video. Immediately, I said I wanted you out. I thought you were extremely over the top, just in a way that I assumed would be fake and just extremely unlikable. And then coming into the game in the pre-merge, people kept telling me, oh no, don't worry, Bryce is a cool guy, Bryce is funny, Bryce is trustworthy, Bryce has all kinds of these good qualities that you should really at least give a chance. He was probably just over the top in his video. And so, I decided, yeah, sure, I will let Bryce have a chance. And I was completely right the first time. Bryce, I could not stand a single moment with you on a call ever. Every single one was literally like jabbing pins into my eyes and dragging them down my forehead. Like, it was a putrid experience. I think I'm not the only... I'm very mad at you for all kinds of reasons. I don't think I'm the only one. I think you pissed people off. I think you treated people like shit in this game. I think you were a very sore winner, a very patronizing winner. And when things went your way, you were extremely demeaning. And when things didn't go your way, you were a crybaby. I don't know how I can respect any of those qualities. Next, on to Sam. I love you as a person. You're funny, enjoyable, and went through a similar experience as me. We talked a lot about how our games were similar and that we both didn't know people and we both didn't want to just sit there and do nothing and let the game happen around us. And I loved you as a person. I loved every exact opposite of Bryce. Every single one of our calls was lovely, enjoyable. But we talked a lot about how we actually wanted to do things in this game. And I literally think you might have done less than Melissa, who was AFK at the start of the game, didn't show up and got voted out first. So I guess my first question would be to Sam is, what did you do in this game more than Melissa?
I don't know her. I've heard she did not show up, so I showed up. I won a few immunities towards the end, which I think really helped me. It especially helped during that double eviction, double tribal, whatever you want to call it, where Bryce had decided to use the idol on the first round, and then the second round, because I won that immunity over Aaron, who I think was like in second, It definitely gave us an edge in terms of when they went to rocks. I think it was going to go to rocks regardless because I won. Bryce was the only one who kind of had his neck out on the line versus Holly and Aaron who had theirs. So it kind of gave us a whatever percentage, 33% advantage on going after that with the numbers. This way, the three of us kind of had a pretty clear path to the end at that point. So I think that was a pretty big thing. You may not see that as a move, more as like a
Sweet.
very
Thank you very much.
Fortuitous position spot. I really, like I said, I knew the whole time that my position was always going to look like I didn't do as much as Bryce and I wasn't as threatening as Susan, and that's fine. I think I really had a heavy hand in a lot of the evictions. Yours was actually the only one I didn't really have a hand in, and I wanted to keep you around because I really did enjoy chatting with you and strategizing with you, and I'm not just trying to blow smoke up your ass. But every other eviction or tribal before that, I knew exactly who was going home, and I definitely had a hand in the strategy behind it to make it happen.
Okay, I appreciate that a lot. I'm basically for this thing, don't give up. I really think that you have a chance if you actually just like own the things that you think you did in this game. I think people are willing to give you a chance. So Bryce, popular professional wrestler, 16-time world champion, Ric Flair once said, "I was really good at being a bad guy. I like that role, not being bad to people, just talking bad." So I guess my question to you, Bryce, is what differentiates you between being just a bad person, like, and a bad player? Like, describe the difference between those two things to you in this game.
The difference between being a bad person and a bad player is that a bad person does bad things to other people that knowingly harms them, is malicious towards them, or otherwise would make them unhappy. For no particular reason, for their own amusement, for their own joy. Being a bad player, I'm assuming you're talking about being bad in the sense of just sucking at the game, or do you mean like villain bad?
I mean, as a bad player, I mean as a villain bad.
Okay, cool. As opposed to a villain bad, which is you are doing things that actively benefits your own game and hurts other people in the game, knowing it's hurting other people in the game, but putting your game first.
Okay, so I would argue that you were more of the first one where, for example, when Miranda left, you continuously talked afterwards being like, "Sorry, Miranda, I didn't mean to play that idol on you," in public with the jury watching. We were watching you like berate Miranda, someone we all like, as we're sitting here at home, sad about you already cutting us. In what universe is that good jury management? Have you seen the show before? Do you understand that people lose this game because of how they treat people? And you treat people like absolute garbage.
No, absolutely. And I hate the fact that I feel like it's so cliched to say, like, I hate that that's how that came off. I wasn't apologizing to Miranda because I was belittling her or demeaning her and saying, like, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I genuinely enjoyed my calls with Miranda. Like, I genuinely enjoyed talking with her. I think that she's a really nice person, and I felt bad that it was her going home that night, and it was her chances at this game that I was cutting.
Do you mean that? Or because that sounded like fake as shit.
I mean, that's what I meant. Like, why, like, would I just say sorry to be like I want the jury to vote for me? No, I fucking liked Miranda, and I felt sorry because the vote was supposed to be Dustin. And we flipped it at the last minute, and I felt bad that it had to be her, but like I stand behind that. I was sorry that that it would personally negatively affect her, even though game-wise, I felt like it was a good game decision.
All right. And Susan, I think in your opening speech, you basically gave up. Sorry for not saying anything to you, but I don't think there was anything worth saying. Good job getting to the end. You get your 85K or whatever in blanket terms. You get a third of the blanket. But I don't think you really played the game. I don't really know anything about you. I really liked your opening video, just to have some parody there. Sam, definitely don't give up. You treated people with respect, with kindness, something that the other two didn't, and you treated people like mature adults, and I think that can actually carry you far. You may not watch Survivor, but you watch Big Brother. The skills are transferable. It feels like the other two didn't even bother knowing anything about these shows. Peace out.
Thank you, Kilby. You can return to the jury. All right, and your next juror is on the way. Only 7 more to go. Also, before the next juror gets here, I just want to say thank you to... Oh, he's here. Never mind. Gene, you have 10 minutes.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. Let's see. I wrote a bunch of note downs. Okay, so, Bryce, in a sentence or two, because I really don't want to hear you speak for longer than a sentence or two, say about your gameplay that wasn't just sheeping Aaron until he was voted off.
I forged the connections pre-merge to know everything that was happening on that tribe that didn't involve Aaron and also involved targeting Aaron. Second sentence. Post-merge, I was able to take control of this game in my own hands independently during live night to flip it around for myself.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to move on to Susan now, and also Samantha, pay attention to the question because it's going to be the same one for you. Susan, what is the biggest move in this game that you can say is yours and yours alone?
Mine's and mine's alone. Honestly, I'll be honest, probably not one of them. I told you in the beginning, I had to play a different way. The other 2 people that are sitting with me had other outs. Again, I was supposed to be gone at 7. They were going to vote me out if I hadn't won. I only had one way to get here, and that was through them because nobody else wanted to work with me. So unfortunately, I did have to follow and just vote how to vote this game.
All right, and Samantha?
Hey, Jean. Honestly, a lot of the moves were group moves. Like, I get what Susan's saying because you kind of need numbers, and I figured out pretty quick that doing anything, sticking your neck out too much on your own was a little risky. So the biggest thing I did, because I knew it wouldn't blow back on me too hard, was probably throwing that competition. It was like the 3rd competition where our tribe had still won everything up until that point, because I felt like no one was talking strategy, or if they were, they just weren't doing it with me. And I figured I could really fake some of those conversations if we just got a loss. So went ahead and tossed that one because I knew, like, if we were going to lose as a tribe, it wasn't just going to blow back on me that, like, oh, Sam lost his competition for us. Like, so that was probably the biggest thing I did to really start getting that ball rolling and get some alliances made and start kicking out people who had really good social games early.
Right. And then can you say anything that wasn't 7 rounds before the merge even started?
I can try. Well, post-merge, I think one of the bigger things, and like it's going to come across a little bit more like a group thing, but I know Bryce had won these idols. I hadn't won idols, so I didn't really have the most pull in terms of like how they got used. But he was super nervous about using it, especially the first time when it came to the Leslie vote, where me, him, Susan, and Leslie got into like this conversation like the day of her eviction. And she really was trying to fight and saying we'd be a group and this, that, the other. And he was ready to go up until like maybe 30 seconds before that tribal started, until I got on a call with him and told him, like, don't use it. Don't use it on someone who tried to start working with us 3 hours ago. I'm going to, no offense, Leslie, I know you're listening to this. I told him, don't use it. I'm going to vote her out regardless. And I think that's what swayed him to not use it that one, to save it for the next one. Because I kind of knew in that group she wouldn't be the most loyal to me. She'd probably be the most loyal to Susan. So I had no problems just telling him, like, let this one go, save it for the next one where we might need it a little more.
Okay, cool. And then my final thing, I guess, for all of you guys, I just want you to, no explanation needed. I just want you to throw out the name of the person who you think is least deserving to be here. Bryce, you go first.
Honestly, Gene, probably you, just because you didn't make it to merge and you got into jury because of Regan getting removed. If only for those reasons.
I guess, all right. I was hoping for you to say someone in, the final three with you, but I'll take that into consideration because I'm still voting. And now, Susan.
Sam?
And Sam?
Yeah, I'd probably say Susan. Sorry, girl. I love you.
All right. Thank you guys for your time. That's all I have to say. Love you guys.
You.
Thanks, Gene. You can go back to the jury. And your next juror is on the way. Yeah.
What were you going to say before, Jordan? Oh,
I'm just going to save it till the end now. Holly, you have 10 minutes.
Okay, I will not need nearly 10 minutes, so don't worry. Okay, give me a second. I'm pulling up my little note sheet. Okay. All right, hey everyone. Unlike some other jurors, I'm not here to wring your necks or snatch your wigs or whatever you want to call it. I'm already 99% made up in my mind on this vote, but I will say this. Contrary to what we've heard so far, I have actually enjoyed talking to you, Bryce. You never treated me poorly and at least spoke to me, whereas the other two sitting next to you did not. I think that you truly deserve to win this game when I compare you to Sam and Susan. You flipped the entire game on its head, and I respect that. No matter how bitter the jury is, I hope that they can put their personal pettiness aside and respect that too. That's all I have to say. And now it's time for fun. Although Gene kind of stole my question, I'm a little pissed about it. I want you to pick two people from the jury, not the three of you, from the jury that are least deserving to be sitting up there next to you. You guys can go in any order, I don't care.
I went last.
Hold up, I'm like pulling up the list of people. I guess I'll go first if we have to do this.
I don't.
This is kind of a shitty reason for saying it, but maybe Mark, only because I never got to speak to him, so I have no idea what he brought to the game or what he didn't. He just went out too soon, and I really never got to speak to him, and that sucks. So I kind of have to default to that. And then maybe Leslie, I feel like she kind of relied on a lot of other people and was never really in the know about anything. I tried to give her a chance to tell me who she would target. This way I could get a better understanding of like where her head was at a lot of the times. And she had a really hard time articulating very directly what she planned on doing. So it was a little hard for me to trust her for that reason. And I felt like her perception was a little bit of a goat at times, but she knew it. And like, that sucks. But that's just who I would go with based on that reasoning.
All right, thank you for answering.
I would say you and Miranda only because these are the least I talk to.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm not offended. I want the truth. And Bryce?
So like I said, in my first answer to Gene, everyone else on that jury made merge. And so I feel like for that reason alone, he would be my first answer. Second answer would probably be Mark, if only because I had one amazing call with him. We gagged, okay, we gayed out, and like I still remember that. I still remember what I put in my confessional afterwards, a very detailed transcript of girl, yas, oh bitch, you would not believe, bitch. And that was so enjoyable. However, I think that I got to know him probably the least because of the amount of time that he was on that jury. And Leslie was going home that round until he blew up the entire game, and then we had that gag-worthy 8-person call, and that was disappointing. I was like, Mark, stop! Don't do this! Don't do this, Mark. So I guess he'd be my second choice.
Okay. Thank you all for actually answering my question. I've had people refuse to answer me before, so I appreciate that you all have actually answered that, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. You can go back to the jury. And next juror is on the way. And this is juror number 4, so you guys are almost halfway there.
Are they living on a prayer? I just had to say something.
I cannot stand you.
You'll make it, I swear. Don't worry.
I'm so done with you. Like, I had to listen to this all, like, that type of shit is literally what Noah does all the time. Like, we would be walking to a restaurant and he'd be like, I'm tired, and point to a fucking pile of tires. Like, he just makes all these bullshit puns all the
He's
time.
much more attractive than I am, so at least there's
fair.
that.
All right, Mark, you
What do you mean fair? Fuck you. You have to do this. Wow.
Mark, I can't hear
Fuck
you.
you, Jordan. Okay,
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Okay.
You have 10
yeah.
minutes.
I don't need 10 minutes. Okay. Congrats, Final 3. You did what we all couldn't. You made it to the finals. You have a great story. I think Sam said it last Tribal Council that you came in with 3 to 8 and fucking turned it out. You did what we couldn't do. I do have a question for Sam and Susan. I do believe that Bryce deserves to win this game, and I would like the jury to vote for Bryce because I definitely believe he had the best social game. Sam and Susan, how was your social game relevant to where you are right now? Susan first.
Well, I did try to talk to most of you. I did reach out to Holly. I reached out to you. I reached out to Dustin. I don't think the lack of my social was more on my part than it was. I mean, no offense on all of you guys. I mean, I did try last minute. I heard you were throwing my name to saying Leslie, which is fine. But I mean, you guys are acting like I didn't try to talk to you. I did, but you guys all had a preconceived notion as to where my order fit in line. Like, nobody was like, oh, Susan can benefit us, let's work with her. It was just like, let's respond to Susan only to appease her. So I don't think the lack on social was more on me than maybe you guys already having a preconceived notion going in as to where I fit in.
Okay. Thank you. Sam?
I think my biggest challenge coming into Merge, and the thing I was most worried about was that my social game, if I ever tried to bring up too much strategy, would come across super fake and super forced. And like, so I know I didn't always like get, like, you were the person I never really got to talk to, and that sucks because from what everyone else told me, you were really cool and like really fun, and like, sorry, and I'm not trying to like be fake now. And I hope it doesn't come across that way, and I never wanted it to. I tried to reach out to a few different people, and the people who were more chatty back with me were the people I kept chats going with. Like Kilby, I ended up started getting into like the more strategic stuff because we just had a lot in common, so it was easy. Leslie I sort of chatted with a bit, and she was really cool and down to earth and was always up for chatting. Dustin I always thought was super chatty too and really fun, and Miranda. So unfortunately that's kind of how it had to shake out, is I never wanted to come across too pushy. So if it ever seemed like my social game sucked, it was because like I just never wanted to be that pushy person. And like, if your vote's already made up, like I get that. This is just me explaining myself. Like I thought everyone was pretty cool for the most part. Like I really did try to like get to know people, and was always kind of worried about bringing up strategy too quick. And so yeah, that was probably my biggest downfall, was like getting to chat enough with people or not enough with people, and finding that balance, because I know Bryce was fucking amazing at it. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't even know if I answered your question right.
It kind of did. I really did like in your opening statement how you told a lot of things about the push-up challenge and things that I didn't know because I never got to know you. So it did sway me a little bit. I think you played an okay game. If you win, good job. If not, maybe another game in the future we'll play together. As to Bryce, I hope you win it, and hope to chat to you after tonight with you with the crown. Good luck. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Mark. You can go back to the jury. Halfway done. All right.
Halfway there, right, Jordan?
Okay. I'm not speaking anymore. That's a lie. I can't go that long without talking. Should I do best pre-juror since we're halfway through? Okay, so I'm gonna do this while we're waiting. Okay, so hopefully they don't come quick because otherwise that'll be sad. Okay, so favorite pre-juror. It actually came down to 5 people. We had Daniela, Fabi, Cami, Mac, and Regan. In a tie for 3rd place with 14.6% of the vote is Daniela and Fabi. And then we are down to Cami, Mac, and Regan. And in a tie for 2nd with 17.1% of the vote is Cami and Mac. So with 24.4% of the vote, Regan was voted everyone's favorite pre-juror of the season.
Here's my real final two, y'all. I can see it.
Did you have to do a confessional to get it?
Yikes. Sorry, this next juror, it's not letting them click the link, so I have to invite them. So that should tell you who it is. Well, it could tell you a few people it is. So yes, congratulations, Regan. You have won best pre-juror. And Leslie is here. Leslie, you have 10 minutes, okay? Oh, I can't hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay,
go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, so congrats everyone for making it to final 3. I don't know if I'll need 10 minutes, but so basically I wanted to take some time to thank Jordan and Ty for casting me. I really I really didn't think I was going to be casted. So thank you so much. So I did try to redeem myself after Sherry was blindsided, but I feel like after she left, my game died when she did. No one really tried to step up and give me a chance. I mean, okay, a few people I guess did. But Susan, what you were saying to Mark, let me see, I wrote it down. That people thought that you had a preconceived notion, like people had a preconceived notion of where you were in this game and didn't really give you a chance, and only talked to you to appease you. I really feel that on a personal level because that's how I felt the entire game. So I don't know if I have any questions for you, Susan. I do have one for Sam. So yeah, I was listening earlier, and you said that you didn't know if I would be trustworthy. People thought on my tribe that I was the most genuine person, and I was. If you would have come to me and trusted me, I would have been loyal to you. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know, because no one else really ever gave me the chance besides Kilby, but he's in jury now, so what can you do? So I guess my question to you, Sam, is what constitutes trustworthiness to you? Because I did talk to you well before 3 hours before I had gone home. And I did try to make connections with people well before I left. But I feel like everyone kind of knew, well, she is going home, so why bother? So what constitutes trustworthiness to you?
Okay, so here was where it came down to. I loved you as a person. I really do get why people thought you were the most genuine and sweetest, because that's what I came away with too, and a lot of times. That's separate from game. Anytime you kind of knew you were going home, the one that Mark ended up going home, and when I talked to you about it, I said, okay, yeah, I've been hearing your name, and I was honest with you about it. And I remember asking multiple times, so like, who would you target? Like, I wanted to know if you were kind of aiming more for heroes that kind of did you wrong, or if you'd kind of buddy back up with them. And it was really hard to get a read on you game-wise because you never gave me a name. And like, God bless, that is so smart of you, but so dumb. And I was like, come on, girl, just give me a name so I know where your head is at. And like, that's all I really wanted. And to me, like, to see you say a name and then vote for that person would have been like, okay, I can trust her. She does exactly what she says she's going to do. That was honestly my hardest thing. And I knew you wanted to stick with me, Susan and Bryce, to the end. And like, you would have been down for that, especially if Bryce had used that on you. It was just so hard. And I had kind of pulled him aside and said, so my biggest struggle is Leslie will do whatever we say, but like, what does she want? Like, I feel like I'm really struggling to understand where your head's at, who you want to work with, who you would never work with again, or if the door is open. The problem is you were really genuine and everyone liked you, even though they were voting you out. So I knew it wouldn't be hard for people to get back in with you in the very least because everyone liked you. And like I said, I just didn't have a good read on who you felt like you trusted and who you really wanted to work with, or if you were just working with whoever would throw you a bone that week. That's honest. Like, I really didn't mean to throw you under the bus or hurt you by saying like the stuff I said earlier. It was just my thought process at the time in terms of a game standpoint. And I hope you can understand that. But I really did think you were awesome, and trust, it really was just a matter of, okay, what did they do? What did they tell me what they were going to do? What did they do? So like people like Daniela early in the game would always tell me how she was going to vote right before the vote and then vote the complete other way. So people like that I knew I couldn't trust. I'm like, I tried to understand her. So that's the kind of stuff I was looking out for post-merge after that experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Okay, thank you for that answer. That makes complete sense. So Bryce, I actually really enjoyed talking to you, like on a personal level. I'm pretty sure we talked on the phone for like 2 hours one night and it was lit. But I guess my question for you, I'm not going to pick you apart. How would you rate your jury management on a scale of 1 to 10? And why?
This is where I struggle. And I'll get real with y'all for a second. I entered this merge 8-3. Okay? Everyone who entered in the 8, with the exception of perhaps you and Mark, had the luxury of options. They had the luxury of choice. They had the luxury of, if they're talking to you, they're doing it because they want to, not because they need to. Because entering 8-3 means that every time they talk to you, you are talking to them under the impression that you know that you're not in their endgame plans. And that was very true for me for every member of the Core Heroes tribe, as opposed to, except for Aaron. And that makes jury management very hard, because I tried as hard as I could to be the most social. I mean, at least out of us 3, I think I got onto the most individual calls with members of the new Oswald tribe. I talked to people as much as I could. I mean, I talked to you for 2 hours, and like you said, it was lit. That was legitimately one of my favorite calls of the game, Leslie. But I entered this merge in a position where if I did not fight as hard as I could for myself and do everything I could do, I would not be sitting here. And I mean, what does my jury management mean? Because I said I'm sorry to Miranda after I used my idol that I was being fake? Should I have not been talking to people? Should I have not been building connections? Leslie, I talked to you for 2 hours and I adored it. I really loved that call because we got into so many interesting topics and conversations, and I was so ready to use that idol on you. But as soon as I lost my backing from Sam and Susan, if I don't have that backing, I don't have anything, because
3 minutes left.
I entered with 2 allies at best, and then Aaron. I think I did everything in my power to talk to as many people as I could for as long as I could. And every conversation, every joke, everything was genuine. But at the end of the day, if I did not do what I did in this game, I wouldn't be here. And if that means that that's bad jury management, I don't know what I could have done differently. Like, I could have just not talked to people. At the end of the day, my jury management, I would rank for myself for what I could be doing for the situation that I merged into. I would rank it as at least better than Sam and Susan. And luckily, that's all it has to be for tonight. And that's the situation I put myself in. And if the correct answer would be to just not talk to people, or to talk to people as much as Sam and Susan did, then if that's good jury management, then I evidently didn't do that. I don't know what I was supposed to do going into this, but I did everything in my power to be as nice, to be as genuine, to be as kind as I could be, while having to navigate through the shittiest merge situation anybody could enter in. That's my jury management.
Okay. All right. I'm done. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Leslie. You can go back to the jury.
I would just like to take a moment to say that I love Leslie very much. She is adorable, and she needs to come back at some point.
She really was a gem that, that like fell into our hands when we needed another female hero. Okay, and what was I going to say? Next juror's on the way. Next award we are going to give for moment of the season. This was like a production picked award. And we are obviously going with the final 6 rock draw because that was intense as shit. I was like 30,000 feet in the air, landed. I was like, oh my God, we're going to rocks. That was super intense. That was like a huge reason why you 3 ended up making it here, because it finally gave you all majority. And it was the first time rocks have been drawn in this series. So it was very, very intense. So that is moment of the season for anyone who's in the final 6. Rest in peace, Holly, who got taken out by a rock. And next year should be on the way. Where is the juror? Oh, there she is.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey Miranda, you have 10 minutes.
All right. So first off, I don't think anyone said it yet, but I just want to say that my biggest pet peeve is when jurors come up here and say, my vote is up in the air, because honestly, based off of how things are going tonight and based off of the fact that I actually followed this fucking game when I was in it and when I got out, my vote should be pretty obvious. But we all know that juries like to pull funny shit sometimes, so we'll see what happens tonight. Bryce, I don't think you treated me like garbage. You don't need to apologize. And if you did berate me, it honestly went way over my head. I don't know if I was just oblivious to the fact that I was actually leaving that tribal council, but yeah, I must be oblivious to that because I didn't experience you berating me once. I, for one, really commend you for taking me out rather than Dustin, because honestly, if I were in your position, that's probably what I would have done. I was in a better position than Dustin, and you knew that, and you knew to target me that first round so you could pull the trigger on Aaron, your messenger, the next round. What you didn't know is that Holly, Dustin, and I all planned on voting out Aaron anyway the following round, but I digress. You still knew exactly what you needed to do that night, and that's probably the moment that your game clicked in my head, and I was like, okay, so this guy's game does have some organization going on. I don't have an individual question for you right now, but is there anything you want to elaborate on just going off of that? I mean, you've explained it pretty well. For the most part, I do know why you targeted me rather than Dustin, but is there anything you'd like to add?
Also, we were planning for the possibility of rocks the next round. We were hoping we would get Aaron. Aaron would go to rocks for you, Miranda. 100%. You were the person who Aaron told me he was closest with over in that alliance over and over and over again. We thought that there was also an additional possibility that Aaron would not go to rocks for Dustin, because the plan was for me to let Susan get voted out and then idle myself the next round and idle out Dustin. So I thought if he was willing to have me idle out Dustin, he wouldn't go to rocks for him.
And that makes sense. That's what Holly told me when she came back to jury. So that matches up. Thank you. Susan, it seems like you've given up. Sam, you keep trying to say that you kept trying to say that you didn't want to be clumped in together with your original tribe and you wanted to set yourself apart. But that's kind of hard to do when you're not really the one making the bold move. So I want to know what one quality in your game set you apart from your alliance. And I want to know kind of what you brought to the table more than anyone else in your alliance, whether it be obtaining info, strategizing, whatever.
I get that. A lot of times told people that weren't in my alliance that I did not want to be associated with them, so that hopefully people would feel comfortable coming to me if they wanted to vote out one of them instead of voting out me. So a lot of times, like, I didn't necessarily mean in terms of like, I knew I was always with them. I didn't want that to always come across that strong, because I knew Bryce had the social game and Susan kind of had more the experience than I did. So I knew for me personally, the only way I was going to make it to the end is if I came across like as the weakest person in that alliance. And people probably don't want to vote for me for that reason, because they're like, yeah, you were. To a certain extent, I kind of crafted that for myself, because then I would never get targeted out of those three if it came down to like a 3 versus 3, like we thought it was going to end up at with like the you, Dustin, Holly versus the 3 of us. So that was always kind of a big thing to me, was kind of making sure to keep that going. And to a certain extent, it worked. I mean, like I said, I never got a vote for my name, so people weren't necessarily targeting me, whether or not it was discussed. It never came to fruition, so it kind of worked out in a certain extent. What was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
No, that was the question. My question was, what quality was the one that set you apart from your alliance? And to clarify, your quality was not having one?
It was that, honestly, not necessarily that. It was just mostly coming across to you guys as like eager to work with anyone, and not necessarily coming off like I'm ready to mastermind this whole thing and like be just for this team and it's 1v1. And like that was my biggest thing, was to just always come across open-minded and social, and maybe not always come across like I'm always thinking game, because the people who did that to me early on always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I knew coming into Merge not to come in hot like that, and come in more like, yeah, I could be open to voting Susan out. Yeah, I could be open to voting Bryce out. I was never going to do it, but I always like to come to you people with that messaging, with that like thought process of like, yeah, I could be eager. I could be a number for you guys if you need to. Like, so that was my thing.
Okay, I kind of get that. While I didn't trust you in the game, I did enjoy our talks. So, I mean, good social game in that aspect.
That was the thing, is I knew if I came in strategy, you guys wouldn't believe me. So I was like, well, I don't think if I came in saying like, yeah, let's vote this person, this, I'm like, they're going to think I'm bullshitting, and then I'm going to look like an asshole liar. And then I would have been moved to top of your hit list. I knew if I was low, why rock the boat too much?
Okay. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, it would be really easy to come up here and say, hey, Susan and Sam, like, I talked to you two the least, but it's absolutely a two-way street, and I have to keep that in mind as a juror. So thank you for your answer. My next questions are just two for all three of you. We can start with whomever. What one quality of your game lacked the most? And that's for everyone. Whether it be like social, strategic, competitions.
Do you care what order? Or?
I can go first. You two went before me, so I can go first. Just give me 1 second. I think the quality in my game that lacked was a social quality that came about knowing I had 2 idols throughout most of the merge. So I needed to come across in a way of, I want to make moves, like I want people to flip, like, but I'm still not taking advantage of these opportunities beforehand, but I still need to make it look like I'm still trying to scramble, because having those 2 idols offered me the security that I needed to just get to a point where I would know who the votes would be. But I still had to socially integrate myself enough to say that, you know, I was able to have a call with everyone at Merge. And I think that
3 minutes left.
Might come across as fake, or it might, I don't know how it might come across to people, but it was a difficult road to navigate socially, being able to talk to people who I knew did not want me in their endgame plans and who I probably would not have in mind.
Okay, fair enough. Sam?
Yeah, I think that kind of like what we were just talking about, I think my hardest thing was kind of being able to show people what I was doing. But like I said, I kind of went in with a certain like plan that like whatever I was going to do, it was going to be behind the screen of like an alliance where I may not have been the face of it all the time, which kept me safe. But at the same time, like that's the hard thing is I'm coming into this jury thing and a lot of people have already kind of made it pretty obvious. Like they respected a lot of what Bryce did and especially that like rocks and idling thing. And like, that's awesome. I'm never going to shit on him for doing that. I think he had really good timing with it and his timing was kind of helped by us a little bit. But I think the hardest thing was not coming into this point. It's hard to prove because I feel like I really have to backpedal a lot and say like, yeah, I really was behind all this, even though you never saw it and you may not believe me. So I think that was my hardest thing is just being able to have the physical proof and showing people at the time that I was behind a lot of things. If that makes sense. Okay.
There's a little over a minute left for Miranda.
Susan, you can go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear. My headset's all messed up. Well, obviously my social lacked with, which affected my strategic. It's not like I didn't try to be social. I mean, I did reach out to you guys around that Kilby went, wanting Kilby to be the vote. I mean, had we worked something out then, Dustin could have saved his idol. I mean, instead of being like Kilby's the vote, but you guys voted Bryce. I mean, again, it's not like I didn't try to be social, but yous were also limited to what yous told me. So, I mean, to be fair, I can't be strategic if you won't let me be social.
No, that's very fair, and that's what I was saying. It's a two-way street, so I'm definitely going to keep that in mind. That's it. May the baddest bitch win. Good luck, guys.
Thanks, Miranda. All right, next juror's on the way.
Who do we have left? We have Aaron.
Dustin and Aaron.
Okay, just those. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I can give out the Best Confessionalist Award, which is once again a production award, which we are actually giving to Sam DeMott for Best Confessionals.
I fucking knew those sock puppet shows would pay off.
That's all I was ever here for.
All right, Dustin, you have 10 minutes.
Hi, bitches. I just want to first say thanks, frickin' Jordan, for finally casting my ass in this game. It was so fun.
Why do I not get credit for that?
I was just about to come to you, Ty.
Because I cut him like 3 seasons in a row.
Yes, no, Ty, he really did, and I'm really excited to meet you next weekend,
And what
Ty.
do you
So
think
that'll be
changed
fun.
that?
It was super fun, but you know, I thought going like last would be kind of awesome, but now all my questions and all my shit has been snagged and dragged, so I don't really have a lot to say. What I do have to say is I need to like burst some bubbles and shit. Sam, your name did come up when Dan was going to go. Holly, Miranda, and I were going to vote you out, and if we would have voted you out, the game would have gone a hell of a lot different, and I kind of regret not. So fuck. Susan, you did reach out to me and we had actual good conversation a lot of the time. And when you come to Dane, please hit me up and we can hang out. That would be super fun. Bryce, you definitely were the most social out of the three, but I think it came off as fake a lot of the time because everyone knew you were talking to everyone. So that hinders that. And the last thing I have to say really is I'm sick and tired of you girls giving the fuck up. I knew I was leaving and I came in that tribal council still coming guns a-blazing trying, and you guys have not tried. So my question is for the girls. I need one solid good reason why you should win over Bryce, because it's clear to me and a lot of people that he deserves to win. I need a solid reason. I want something good. Give me something.
I mean, you guys are looking at it like I gave up. I'm coming into this final tribal council. No, I haven't made any moves. Did my social lack? Yes, unfortunately it did. I mean, I'm like 41 years old. You guys are like 12. It's hard for me to find like this bonding thing, like to reach out. Hey, what's going on? Oh, I'm at a concert. I'm at a club. The only club I know is Sam's Club. So like, I have no experience there. Don't know what to talk to you guys about. I mean, you guys want to talk home mortgage rates? What's your insurance? Where the best place to get coffee on sale is? I'm your girl. So it's kind of hard for me to figure out something. With you, it was easy. We started talking about live Survivor games. So like, it was a bond, and I try to look for that. I mean, unfortunately, my lack of social meant lack of strategic moves. I try to be strategic. You all agreed that Aaron and Kilby were playing in the middle. I went to you guys that round because I felt safe. I had immunity. It was the only shot I had to make a move. And like, had we come on some agreement, you would still be going into the next round with your idol if you guys had all voted Kilby and we just stuck with the plan. So like, my options, unlike, you know, Bryce's and Sam, they may have had more. They could have been at final 3 with a bunch of mixture of people. The only way I was able to get here was with them. I had to struggle every round to figure out a way I could stay. I didn't have time to be like, oh, I want this person, I want this person. It was like, no, I need to stay here. So I didn't have that option. I know people are like, oh, she gave up. No, I'm kind of coming in with nothing on my shoulders, but just getting here. And that's a hard game to sell, but I couldn't really make the moves. I wanted to make the moves. I mean, I made it clear. Aaron and Kilby were in the middle. Why are we letting them decide? But nobody listened. I mean, that's all I got.
Gotcha. Thank you.
For me, and I know I told you this, and I told Aaron it too during his vote, my biggest thing was I didn't think I could be either of you two. You had great social relationships with everyone, especially the heroes who saw what you were doing since day one. Aaron had great social relationships with a lot of those people too. And like, I give you both a lot of credit. You both played so well. And especially Aaron, I thought he played super well and literally played everyone. And even if people kind of saw through him a little bit, like, fuck, if he would have made it to this point, I genuinely believe he would have won, and I genuinely believe you would have won, and like I genuinely believe Bryce has a really good shot. And so it was tough. Like, I was in a final 5 with you, Aaron, and Bryce, all of whom I thought had super fucking good chances to win. So to a certain extent, I kind of just committed to going with my final 3 that we started out as, because to a certain extent, I thought it would help split up the votes a little bit, especially among the heroes who may not have seen everything that happened pre-merge and even like beginning of the merge and stuff like that. So that's what I thought my best option was, and that's honest. And I told you that right before your vote, and I tried to be as honest as possible with you. I never felt like I was giving up. You and Aaron both told me straight to my face, like, you're not going to win against him. And like, that sucks to hear. And guy, it's like, I know, like, he did really fucking well. So did you, and so did Aaron. Like, there's not a good combination where I can see myself having an easy victory here. So that's honest. That's why I kind of went with the 3 people I did towards the end there. The fuck else were you asking? Oh, like, what did we do? Why do we deserve to win, right? Over Bryce?
Yes.
My thought process, a lot of the moves he made that you guys saw that were big, big moves, he wouldn't have done them without us, and specifically without me, I think. To him, I was kind of a bit of a rock, and he's told me this, and like, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, Bryce. You know, I think the world of you, and I think the world of every single move you made. I kept him from using the first immunity idol on Leslie because it didn't benefit me directly. She had better relationships with other people and not me. And like I explained to her, I never got a good sense of where she was targeting. Whereas like the people like you, Holly, Miranda, I always knew who you guys were targeting. And I knew you guys were going to vote me out in that one. And Aaron talked you out of it. He told us, sorry. He also was the one who convinced you guys to put it back on Bryce so that Bryce would idol himself. So to a certain extent, he played everyone. Yeah. Again, why if he was sitting here, he probably would have ended up winning, because like, God bless, that's great. For me, like I said, a lot of the moves Bryce made, he wouldn't have made without us, and I don't think he would have made without me. He was a bit of a, not space cadet, that's not quite the right word, very in his own head about a lot of the things and very stressed out about making big moves, and I don't think he would have made them without someone like me coming in with like a very like chill attitude about it, just sitting down with him, explaining the strategy of why it would work or why it wouldn't, and giving him like the final, like, dude, do it now. Don't do it. I'm not behind this. I trust in you. I think you're smart, but don't do it right now. It's going to benefit you later. And always tried to make it seem like I'm looking out for his best interest and our best interest as a duo. You look like so scared, Bryce. It's all stuff I've told you to your face. But yeah, that was the thing. And a lot of the moves I made, I didn't have to be too outward about, and like, he was the one doing a lot of it for me and putting a lot of the target on his back. So like, why would I have stuck my neck out and like really tried to be crazy and strategic and nuts? So outwardly, it was going to get me sent home. Like I said, as soon as I got to 6, I knew I was making it to the end. And like, that's cocky as shit to say, but I knew how people saw me in this game. And I just kept playing that up as much as I could. I hadn't watched an episode of Survivor, and y'all threw all the Survivor questions to me, and like, fuck me, that was really smart of you guys. But yeah, like I knew I was held back by a certain limit of like experience and intelligence and that stuff. But I went a lot with like where my position was and how a lot of people saw me, and I was like, that's fine, that'll get me to the end, and then I can explain from there.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Well, to clarify, we played similar games, but I was nuts. I was strategic. I would have beat even Bryce at the end of this game. So, like, you could have done that and you could have made it work. People did see you as the GOAT, but I feel like people also saw me as a GOAT, and somewhat with my alliance, with my Night 1 alliance with Dan, Miranda, and Holly. I think that I was like similar to you, but I was actually strategic. Okay, cool. Bryce, I heard enough from you. You talk a lot, bitch, but I love you as a person. I love y'all as people. What was I going to say? There's something else I was going to say. Fuck. Oh, yes. Also, I think it wasn't Bryce that made the moves. It was Aaron that made the moves. Aaron always made the moves. Aaron was never making it to the finals unless he won final immunity. Holly and Miranda and I, if he would have went with us, we wouldn't have taken him to the end. So I think Aaron made the moves. I think y'all had to do with what was happening each round, but it was mostly Aaron that did that. So yeah, he did convince us, but not really, because we all talk shit because we were all like, why is Aaron telling us what to do? We shouldn't do what Aaron wants to do. We almost voted you out, and I really wish we had. But good luck, everybody. It's been fun. Cheers, bitches.
Cheers, Dustin.
Thanks, Dustin. Last year is going to be on their way. Then we'll get to closing statements. Also,
I wonder who it's going to be. The suspense.
My little
brother.
brother's
Who it's going to be. The suspense.
My little brother's getting screamed at right now because he went to Nebraska this weekend to see a friend and got arrested for underage drinking. And he's trying to go out and party tonight. And my mom's like, "You're not leaving the fucking house."
They have cops in Nebraska?
I guess. You have 10 minutes.
Oh, it's me. I just want to say thank you, Dustin, for that. That was a really nice intro. Better than Zach Miller's, to be honest. Hi, guys. How's it going? So just want to start this out with saying shout out to the big ballers. I do have an advertisement really quickly. Keep an eye out for the new upcoming org. So you want to be a big baller hitting us in 2042. Also, Auschwitz was emancipated by puppies. Now 13-year-old hot, sexy singles in your area, lost among souls, dongled. Thank you. I don't know. Don't ask. Anyways, on to this. So first off, I just want to say, Susan, I love you. You know I love you. I think I've known you the second longest out of anybody in this game. Honestly, I like want to apologize because I was so scared of you coming into this game because I've known you and your rep, and I think I've literally told everyone in this game that I was so scared of Susan. And I think that kind of really hurt your game because people who didn't know you then got scared of you, I think.
I knew it was your fault.
Sorry.
You can watch all my confessionals. I blame you, but I still love you in each one of them.
I feel so bad. Congrats on making it to the end. It's something I couldn't do. I mean, we both have played a lot of games. I think we both know you're probably not going to win this, but I hope you still enjoyed the game. Sam, so there's a couple quotes I wrote down. You said I always knew that I was going to be seen as not doing as much as Bryce. You also said why rock the boat. I'm not really sure why, if you knew these things, why you didn't do anything. My question for you is, was there ever a point to where you were like, I'm not going to win this, I need to do something? And if so, why didn't you do it?
I had that feeling a few times. I'm trying to like remember specific instances, but it's kind of hard at this point. Honestly, yeah, I knew kind of how it was coming across, but at the same time, I was using it to my advantage. So like, that was the hard thing, to be like, okay, let's like go ahead and make a big move, even though literally no one's targeting me and I've got like a clear path to the end. Like, so that kind of sucked. The other thing was that he kept coming to me and telling me when he had immunity idols. So like, to a certain extent, like I couldn't change those tribal councils. He was going to do them. I told him when to do them, or at least I tried to. I know you had a heavy hand in that too. And like, I think between you and I, we were kind of helping him when the best points were to use them. So that was the hard thing, was like the big moves, or what came across as big moves. Like, it was hard for me to do when like I wasn't always in the position to do it, and I didn't have the social connections to do it. And a lot of it came down to like, I don't want to go up to people who think I don't know what I'm doing and all of a sudden make them very aware that I'm very aware of what's going on. That kind of played a lot into it in terms of like my thought process on a lot of those things. And
yeah, I think if you ever do, I don't know if you're ever going to play another game, I think a big lesson you really, really want to take from this is it's not just about getting to the end. It's about getting to the end and being able to prove your case in front of a jury and get them to vote you. I think like you've done a pretty decent job for this. I know you've probably done more than you're able to explain. But yeah, just definitely if you do play again, it's not just about getting the end. Like, congrats on getting the end. A lot of people don't get to the end on their first game. It's a huge accomplishment. I sound like Paul saying that, but yeah. Anyways, now on to Bryce. I'm glad I allowed, like, how much time do we have left? Do we have over 5 minutes? We might not have enough time for Bryce to answer.
6.
Okay, we should be good. So hi Bryce, how you doing? Don't answer that, please. So basically there's multiple ways of winning a game. I feel like the main ones are playing an amazing game and being able to win the competitions. There's playing an amazing under the radar game to where you get to the end, you blow everybody's mind. There's playing a great game and having allies loyal enough that they're willing to lose to you, which you could potentially be that as well. And then there's the cowardly way, which I think is getting rid of every single person that you think could beat you and to get to the end. Obviously, there's way more ways you can win. I'm not some Survivor expert. Kilby's way better than that. But I honestly feel like you fit that fourth category where you got to this point to where you just took out every single person that was going to beat you in the end, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good way to win. You have a very good shot of winning, but it's just not one that I really respect. I just want to know, like, honestly, do you think you could beat any of the last 5 jurors, like Dustin, myself, Holly, Miranda, or Kilby, if they got to the end with you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I'm glad you're honest, and I'm glad you're really short with that. Also, Bryce, regardless of everything in the game, I still love you. Like, I'm still your friend. I'm not going to take anything too personal. I hate you, but I don't hate you. It was smart. Like, I've told people that too. Playing with me, the best strategy is to just kind of hide behind me and then cut me at the end. And a lot of people don't do it for some reason. But I commend you on that. Congrats if you win the game. Congrats to the other two if you guys win. And I don't know, but like, that's it. Last final shout out to the big ballers, but that's all I got.
All right. So with that, it is now time for your guys' closing statements. So you're each going to have 3 minutes for a closing statement. You don't have to use it all, just like everyone else. We're going in reverse order from earlier. So Bryce, you will begin. Bryce?
Sorry, I was fucking muted, of course. Okay, I'll start now. Okay, so a lot's been said at this final tribal council. Basically, I don't think that I have played the best game out of this entire cast. In fact, like Aaron's last jury question said, about 5 people who would be able to deservedly beat me in a jury vote. None of those 5 people are in the final 3 with me because of the choices that I made. I think that a very large majority of this cast played amazing games. I don't think that my game was the best. However, I think that my game is the best out of the 3 of us that are here. That's why I made the moves that I did. It's why I made the decisions that I made. And it's why us 3 are here and why I do legitimately believe and hope that you guys can recognize that. I feel like I was in a very interesting rut in this game where if I don't socialize enough with people, I get criticized the same way that Sam and Susan would be criticized as not talking to enough people. But the minute that I do have a more active social game, the minute that I do start talking to more people, I get labeled as, we all knew that you were talking to everyone, so it came across as fake. I don't know what the right solution is, because apparently going into the merge 8-3, if you talk to too many people, especially knowing that you have 2 idols that you'll be using in the merge, you're fake. Don't talk to enough people, and you're a follower. People don't know.
You have 1 minute left, Bryce.
Game. So I think I walked a very fine line this entire game of knowing to make the moves when I needed to make them, and socializing enough to at least let people know who I was, that I was genuine. And you guys, I know I talk a lot. Okay? Do you think that I have not been told that I talk a lot? Okay? Fucking Susan told me that she couldn't stop, that she wanted to punch me in the mouth the first night because I wouldn't stop talking. Okay? I'm over the top. I talk a lot. Okay? I'm a hot mess express. But this hot mess express made the moves. I made the important cuts when I needed to, and I'm in a final 3 that I think I deserve to win in. And I think that's why I deserve your votes. Thanks.
Thank you, Bryce. Sam, you now have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to be repetitive, but if you know me outside of this game, it's really hard. A lot of what I did to get here was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I get that. And I get that a lot of people aren't going to respect that moving forward and aren't going to vote based on that, and I get that, and it's fine. I'll get over it. My biggest thing coming in was just that I'm not as social as a Bryce, and I'm not as strategic and can't forge those connections like Aaron. And no offense, but a lot of going into those had to do with the fact that y'all have played a lot of these orgs before, and y'all had pre-existing relationships with each other. So it's really easy to know exactly how each other plays. Aaron knew exactly how Susan played. Aaron was the one who came to us and said, oh, Jean had played in this game before, Sivo played in this game before, Holly's played a million games, Miranda played in Sequester. They all knew all those things. I didn't know anything. Like, I had to come into this not knowing a single person, not knowing what you guys have done before, where your knowledge was, where your strengths were. So I was really playing from behind a lot of the time, and my best move was probably getting into an alliance with people who were stronger for different reasons, whether it was strategic like Aaron or social like Bryce, or like really good at endurance shit like Susan, or just having that knowledge of the game like Susan. I was kind of just that oddball who wasn't going to be seen as super strong no matter what I did. Like, I won a bunch of solo immunity challenges, and y'all still think I didn't do shit, and that's fine. I really did what I could. I was having all the conversations behind closed doors. Every big move that you thought Bryce did, I was there for him, whether it was on an emotional level or a stress management level, and really talked him in and out of certain things since he was the one with those powers and not me. It's a numbers game. Like, it's not like I could have done huge moves by myself, and that's fine if you think I just was floating along, but it's
1 minute, Sam.
It's cool. I never did get a vote against me for that reason, but people did vote out people like Leslie, who they thought wasn't doing anything and got voted like biggest goat or whatever, but they still didn't come for me because I had that protection of a strong alliance. So honestly, my best move was getting myself in really good positioning in the game with certain people and against certain people. I know it sucks that I didn't always socialize with certain people, and I think even Holly said, like, I didn't really talk to her much. She was never going to work with me. Like, she was never going to vote with me. Anything I talked to her about, she was going to use against me. And at least I was smart enough to know it going in and didn't try to force fake connections based on that. Like, you already had your people, I already had my people. And there was no point in faking connections, because then I'd be like Bryce up here getting savagely ripped apart for it. Got you. Just, I liked you all. Jordan and Ty, y'all were awesome. Ty for AFP. That's all I have to say, Ty.
Rude. All right. And we will finish with Susan. Susan, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, again, I know people are like, I gave up, but like I said, it's really hard coming into a tribal where I don't have a lot to stand on. I mean, everybody had a chance to make moves. I mean, let's go with the other two. I didn't have a chance to make moves. The only moves I could make every round was keeping my ass in the game. I wasn't able to be social like Bryce was with everybody. At Final Six, I wasn't Sam and saying, hey, I'm going to go to the end as it is. I mean, if I was them, maybe I could have made moves, but my only move was trying to figure out how to stay in the game. Nobody was giving me a shot. Nobody was like, oh, hey, Susan, let's do this. So, I mean, at least there's that. I'm here. I mean, I'm not trying to be cocky about it, but I mean, had the jury been more open with me, I mean, even with Aaron, I knew Aaron was bullshitting me at one point. Or Holly or Miranda, even Dustin. I mean, if they were willing to work one round before or something, things could have been totally different. So you can't really just put that on me that I didn't do anything. I mean, I managed to stay here when I was a target. My name was getting written down at tribals. I wasn't free flowing and talking to everybody to make sure I was safe. I had to rely on what I had to rely on. I'm done. Sorry.
All right.
I ramble and then just stop. It's an
Thank
old
you,
age thing.
Susan.
It'll happen to you guys.
All right. So with that, you've all gotten through the questioning portion of Final Tribal Council. We are going to go take votes from the jurors. I'm going to take out my headphones because I have to call on my laptop because Skype crashed on my desktop because fuck this ancient piece of shit. So if you guys want to unmute and talk for a few minutes, you can, but we will be back shortly.
All right, can we have like 5 minutes? I just want to go check on my kid and stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
God, Susan, you obviously don't care about the game. I don't think anyone should vote for her to win. I'm kidding, by the way.
It's cool. I'd say the same, but my dog's chasing his own tail right now. So, like, he's fine. Good job, y'all.
We did it. We made it through. That wasn't too bad. That was.
I would just like to take a moment,
Art.
since Jordan is doing like the responsible thing and figuring out how the jurors are going to vote, and I am too drunk to figure out how to do that without you all hearing it. I just want to take a moment to shout out the viewers, shout out the final three, shout out the jury, shout out the pre-jury. This is a great fucking cast. I love, like, as much as I am a soulless son of a bitch who feels nothing for anyone, and bitches die heaven when Bryce doesn't shut his Google chat before voting at the live night or whatever the case may be. Like, the simple truth of the matter is you were all great. You all delivered meaningful contributions to the season. Melissa was a very interesting first boot, even though she didn't show up that night. So, like, all in all, like, I don't know. I'm very pleased with how this foray into hosting went, given how things weren't always so smooth in my last foray. And I just wanted to thank all of you. It was a great cast. It truly was. And you're all winners in my eyes, no matter which of you wins this evening. It sounds ridiculous because it's coming from me, but I do mean it. Full stop. Go ahead, speak amongst yourselves. But
No, that was a good. Okay, so now it's time for the production final tribal, where the final three choose from the two production members who should win.
And we roast them down.
That was a great opening night production final tribal speech, Ty.
Jordan?
It's so fun to get to give a fucking speech. Jesus Christ.
Well, Jordan,
I'm just saying, it's chilly in Pennsylvania, and I could have used a blanket tonight. That's all I'm saying.
I just want everyone to know, every time I did a confessional where I said like something positive about anyone, Ty made fun of me for it. So they're probably more negative because of him.
I will be right back.
Oh, you have a heart? I'm like, no.
I'm gonna go use the little boy's room, so I'll be back.
Oh man.
So did you all see the Eagles are the first team in the NFC East after today? I think Sam DeMott's boyfriend is angry because the Chargers lost to the Eagles. That's what I'm choosing to believe is happening there.
What?
You were like having a heated conversation, and I was just like, that's Sam DeMott's boyfriend showing up and being upset that the Eagles beat the Chargers today.
No, he's not.
Thereby-
He's not from San Diego. He's from Chicago.
Oh.
No. I'm pissed because I didn't realize that the Saints game was going to be in London and therefore at like 4 a.m.
Also, shout out to Jen Crowther because she's upset that I didn't give her a shout out. And I would have given her a shout out sooner, but tractors are not sexy, and I get them on my Snapchat all the time.
The baseball game.
Stop it.
The baseball game is on tonight.
Not even one of the important.
Ty, are you drinking at least? I think we won.
I had plenty of beer at the bar watching the Eagles because anyone who knows the Eagles knows that in order to stomach any of their games, whether they win or lose, you need to drink copiously. So I did, and then got home. But I have to work in the morning, so I'm stopping for now. But
Damn it. How is it always just me and Dustin drinking? Where are the rest of y'all at?
how about this? I will do a shot with everyone, which is to say you all, since you're here.
Down.
There we go.
Straight from the bottle, Ty.
No, it's. Jesus Christ.
Can you hear Matt?
No, what did he say?
He said, how did he have that so readily available?
Because I'm a legitimate businessman and I have my alcohol in my desk. That's why. I know what's up. Jesus Christ.
Businessmen do. Not sitting in his bed like me.
I'm a business professional.
Cheers, Ty.
Salud.
Salud.
That does not taste as good as Captain Morgan. I was lied to.
Just been drinking sangria all day. Get it together.
The first death witness.
Oh, Lord. I don't care. For my first org and potentially my only one, this was fun. I feel like I definitely came into it with the right attitude.
Yeah, the nonchalantness, maybe there was a few calls Bryce and I had, and we were like, can Sam take this a little bit more seriously?
Really? That's just how I am about things. I think it's helped me. I don't know.
She doesn't care about anything.
No, that's the thing, is I don't think I don't know. If I would have taken it too seriously, then I would have been the one running around to everyone and would have gotten the axe because it would have came across like I was trying too hard. Just play to your strengths, you know?
Giants are 0-4.
I know they're garbage this year. Ty, take solace in that at least.
Hmm?
I said take solace. The Giants are 0-4.
They certainly are.
Back. I don't know what the fuck that thing that you do with your hand is.
It's from Little Rascals.
Sorry, that was before my time period.
Oh my god, go back and watch it. It's so worth it. I'll find it.
I'm sure that we're riveting after final tribal council waiting for results. I feel bad for any viewers. Any viewers who want to shout out, just FB message, text me, or Skype me.
Shout out to the big ballers.
Shout out to Taylor Swift. She just texted me. We're old friends.
Bryce, I just sent you that wave. Just so you'll believe me one of these days.
Nah, it's fake news. That's what I choose to believe. All those shout out requests rolling in right now.
Jen just sent me the gif of it. I had guardian angels this whole game, by the way, who just like to rat out the stupid things my brothers have done in all these, including Nick's rap battle.
I would like to clarify that a Kiki is a party for calming all your nerves and spilling the tea. A interested viewer just messaged me that. So just so that the children are educated, that's what a Kiki is. I may have confused it with a Kai Kai, but so Ty, I'm sorry for any confusion I caused you during that call.
Oh yes, a great deal. A great deal.
Oh shit, people are still watching this. Are we supposed to be entertained?
Yes.
I used up all my jokes. I've told so many and I used them all up.
You're fine.
Hello, I have returned.
Hi, Jordan, missed you.
Hello. Okay. So, 1 second. All right. So before we get to the votes, we just have a few more things to announce. So we have fan favorite, which came down to 7 people, with 6.1% of the overall vote. In third place, Dustin, Mac, and Regan, which leaves Aaron, Holly, Miranda, and Sam. In second place, with 8.7% of the vote, was Sam. And a 3-way tie for fan favorite with 12.12% of the vote was Aaron, Holly, and Miranda. And yes, Bryce, Regan did beat you in fan favorite voting. Every single person got a vote, though, so that was fun. And then player of the season came down to Aaron, Bryce, Dustin, Miranda, and Sam. In a third place, in a 3-way tie with 9.8% of the vote, Dustin, Miranda, and Sam. So it comes down to Aaron and Bryce.
Oh shit, I voted for Aaron. I could have voted for myself.
In second place, with 17.1% of the vote, was Bryce. So player of the season with 39% of the vote goes to Aaron. Yeah, so that's like all the administrative things. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Cast was great. Everyone was phenomenal to host. The season went so smooth. I think it was the most smooth season I've ever hosted. Big shout out to Ty, because without him, the season would not have went as smooth as it did. And also shout out to Jen, who stepped in to help us whenever we needed her help. But yeah, I don't want to make you guys wait any longer. So for the last time this season, let's get to the votes. It takes either 4 or 5 votes to win. It depends on like splits and all that fun stuff, but I'll keep that updated as we go. So, first vote, Bryce. Second vote, Sam. Third vote, Bryce. Fourth vote, Demont number 4, which is Sam. So that's 2 votes Bryce, 2 votes Sam, no votes for Susan, and 4 votes left. Fifth vote, Bryce. 6th vote. Bryce. And that says hashtag woo, hashtag limo riding son of a gun, and hashtag Sam's Club for anyone who can't read that.
I wonder where that
7th
came
vote.
from.
7th vote. And the winner of Power Struggle Molly, Bryce. Bryce, congratulations. Very well played. And the last vote was also for you. You won 6-2-0. If you have anything to say, now you can.
I've been a heterosexual male this entire time. I've been lying to all of you. That's all I have to say.
Who's
Right.
Brian then? Is your like?
He's my
It's actually
God.
It's Brianne. Duh. Get it right. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. We're going to move over to Skype for a reunion chat. And look out for season 6 coming whenever we have time again. Thanks, guys.